Have you ever felt it? That strange, fleeting moment when everything seemed to just stop. I don't mean you fell asleep, or blinked, or got distracted. I'm talking about a fraction of a second where the entire world felt suspended in time. No sound changed, no object visibly moved, but something deep inside you felt different. It was as if reality itself held its breath and then, just as quietly, resumed. Most people brush these moments off, dismissing them as a trick of the mind. Tonight, we're not going to do that. We're going to look closer. People from all walks of life describe this phenomenon in surprisingly similar ways. Some say it felt like time slowed to a crawl. Others report that the room, even if full of people, suddenly felt empty for an instant. For many, their own thoughts went completely silent. A blank slate in an otherwise busy mind. It can happen anywhere, at any time. Maybe you were just walking down the street, sitting in a quiet classroom, or riding a bus, staring out the window. It might happen while you're just looking at a wall, or in the terrifying split second just before an accident. Or, most unnervingly, it can happen for no reason at all. What's truly strange is this. People across different cultures, ages, and backgrounds all describe the same fundamental feeling. A pause. A glitch. It's never long enough to properly measure, but it's always strong enough to be remembered. Now, the easy explanation is déjà vu. We're often told it as just that a momentary feeling of having lived this exact instant before. But that doesn't quite fit, does it? Déjà vu is about a sense of recognition, a feeling of repetition. This is different. This feels like an interruption, an absence. It's like a gap in the film of reality, a single missing frame. If our existence were a movie playing on a screen, this would be the imperceptible flicker between frames a moment where, technically, nothing exists, yet something is still felt. Why would our brains invent such a specific, unusual sensation? And more importantly, why does it feel so profoundly similar for so many people all over the world? It's a collective experience that defies a simple explanation. Let's consider moments of extreme pressure, like an Iraq. Many people who have been in a car crash or a sudden fall report the same bizarre thing. Time seems to slow down dramatically. The world doesn't stop, but its details become incredibly sharp. Thoughts don't race, they expand. Science offers an explanation, of course. An adrenaline rush. The fight-or-flight response floods your system, heightening your senses. But adrenaline doesn't fully account for the reported precision. People remember the exact position of flying objects, the specific angle of the light, even the overwhelming sound of silence. It's almost as if reality briefly switched from normal playback to slow-motion mode. Why would time bend so precisely not just break or blur right when it matters the most? Unless, perhaps, time itself isn't a fixed, linear constant. We assume it is, unless it's being managed. This brings us to a fundamental question. Is this phenomena a product of our brain, or the system we exist in? We're taught that our brain interprets and processes reality. But what if it is also constantly syncing with it? Think about every digital system we use today. Our phones, our computers, the servers that run the internet, satellites orbiting the Earth, they all need synchronization to function correctly. And when a system syncs, there's often a tiny, almost imperceptible delay. A lag, a buffer. It's a real, physical part of how complex information systems work. So, if our reality were structured, even in some small way, like a vast information system, would it really run perfectly forever without needing to synchronize? Or would it, just occasionally, need to pause for a microsecond to correct itself, to realign all the moving parts? Here's the part that might be unsettling. You never seem to experience the pause asterisk while asterisk is happening. You only become aware of it a moment after it's over. You notice the resumption, not to stop. It's exactly like a video buffering or a lag spike in a game. Your awareness resumes, and your mind, which abhors a vacuum, instantly fills in the gap. Our consciousness is a masterful editor. It works tirelessly to create a smooth, continuous narrative of our experience. It doesn't like emptiness or contradiction. And if that pause, that system-wide buffer, is short enough. You'll be left with a vague feeling that something was off, but you'll never be entirely sure it happened at all. Your own mind will convince you it was nothing. But sometimes, people experience it together. Imagine a group of people in a room, and suddenly, all at once, conversation stops. Everyone looks around at each other, a silent question in their eyes. Someone might even ask, "Did you feel that?" But what did they feel? Nothing actually happened. There was no earthquake, no sudden sound, no flicker of the lights. There was no visible cause at all. There was just a shared, momentary interruption. Is that just a mass coincidence? A trick of group psychology? Or could it be a moment when multiple observers, multiple nodes in the network, all resensed at the exact same time? A brief, collective update to the system that was just noticeable enough to be felt. If our reality were some kind of simulation or constructed system, it probably wouldn't fail by collapsing into chaos. That would be too obvious. Instead, it would adjust. It would self. These corrections wouldn't be dramatic, world-shattering events. They'd be incredibly subtle. A paused second here, a delayed reaction there, a moment stretched out during danger to allow for a better outcome. Just enough to maintain the stability and integrity of the system, but never enough to raise widespread alarms or reveal the underlying mechanics. Because a system that fails loudly and catastrophically is easy to detect and analyze. A system that fails quietly, almost invisibly, remains trusted. It remains our unquestioned reality. So, why did you feel it? Why did you notice that tiny stitch in the fabric of existence? Maybe it's because, in that moment, you weren't distracted. You weren't staring at a phone, listening to music, or rushing to get somewhere. You were just present, just aware. It is like seeing a nearly invisible seam in a piece of clothing you only notice it when the light hits it at the perfect angle. Most of the time, our reality flows so smoothly we don't think to question it. But once in a while, under the right conditions, you catch the glitch. You feel the stitch. And once you do, once you know what to look for, you might just start noticing it more often. Maybe reality never actually stopped. Maybe, for a split second, you did. Perhaps your consciousness briefly stepped outside the continuous flow of time. Or, just maybe, the system did pause and you were simply awake enough, aware enough, to feel it. Most people forget these moments. They're strange and unexplainable, so they get filed away, dismissed as a daydream or a lapse in attention. They move on. But some of us don't. And those are the people who start asking different, more profound questions. What you heard tonight wasn't proof of anything. It was a signal, a quiet one. And if you've ever felt it yourself, you will already know what I'm talking about. Thanks for watching.